All right, hello again. Thanks for joining me for today's Snap session, where we'll be talking about the Circle, which is Sigma's online member community. Maybe you've been there, maybe you haven't, but you'll get a good idea of what it's all about today. My name is Noelle Pickler, and I am the community manager here with Sigma. So anything Circle related, seek me out and I'm here to help. So whether you've never been in or you've poked around a little bit, or it's something that you visit regularly and you join in the discussions and are an active participant, we hope to cover something new for all types of users today. So we'll start with a tour and then get into some of the neat newer features that make the Circle a really awesome place to be. There have been some recent exciting changes, so we'll also go over those as well and just talk about how you can really customize your experience with the Circle. So before we get started, I do want to mention how you can ask questions during today's webcast, and I encourage you to do that. Ask as many as you have, and we'll answer them throughout or follow up with you afterward. But you can use your GoToWebinar control panel to type in your questions during today's session. So it's probably on the right-hand side of your screen. It looks like what's on my slide right now. If you need to, if it has minimized, you can use the little orange arrow that you see up at the top that will expand it again. And then you can type your questions directly into the questions field, and I'll do my best to answer them during the session, or if I need to, if we run out of time or something, I'll follow up with you privately. So let's go ahead and get started. Bear with me for a second while I pull up my internet here. Okay, so now you should be seeing the Circle homepage, and this is where we'll spend our time today and talk about the Circle during our tour. So like I already mentioned, this is Sigma's online professional networking site for members only. So it's an exclusive site just for our Sigma members. And the first thing I want to talk about is how you can actually get here, which you can get here in a variety of ways. By far, the easiest way is just to type in the web address to get here, which is just thecircle.sigmanursing.org. It takes just a few seconds to type that in, and then you're here. Many members have this bookmarked because it's a place they visit often, and then others get here through links in their emails. So sometimes you'll get emails from the Circle, and that's an easy way to follow a link to get into the Circle. And then you can also get to the Circle through the main Sigma website. So if you find yourself on sigmanursing.org first, that's where we are, you can log in using this member login button, and you'll find some links, one of which will take you to the Circle. Also, if you scroll down to the bottom in our social link area, you'll see a link to the Circle as well, right here down at the bottom underneath Connect with Sigma. So I know it's really small, but anytime you see that little C logo, and again, we see it on the Circle here, that indicates the Circle. So that's how you can get to it. But again, the easiest way by far is to just navigate straight there, because you can bypass everything else and save yourself a few clicks. Once you're here, like I mentioned, this is for members only. So you'll see I'm already logged in up here. My profile is up here in the top right-hand corner. But if I'm not already logged in, you'll see a sign in button up here. And you'll log in using the email address you have on file with Sigma, and either the password you created or your 7-digit member ID number will work as your secondary password. And if you ever forget that information or can't remember or need help or whatever it may be, please reach out. We are more than happy to help get you into this community or anywhere else on the Sigma site you need to go. So here we are on the Circle homepage. We've gotten here just by typing in the circle.sigmanursing.org. And on the Circle homepage, you'll find just about everything you need to do and everything you need to get to by looking at this purple navigation bar up here at the top. So this is going to show you and give you access to all of the neat features that are available in the Circle. So this groups button will show you the different groups that you belong to, and we'll talk a little bit more about groups you can join and groups that you may already be a part of, as well as you can search all groups to find new groups to join. So my groups would be anything that you have already joined. All groups would be if you want to join something else. We'll talk about groups more in a minute. In the member directory, so this third button over from the left is just that. It's a member directory where you can search for and connect with other Sigma members. The Participate button has a few links to help get you started within the community. So this is where you can browse recent discussions for groups that you're a part of, post a message, join a group, etc. Events, this is where you can see any upcoming events that either Sigma has put on, or you could use filters to see your chapter events through here as well. The volunteer button, so we have a really robust volunteer portal where you can build a profile and see available opportunities from the international and chapter level. FAQs is just that. It's a place you can peek at when you have questions or to get some on-demand assistance when you need some help with the circle and maybe it's after hours or you haven't reached out to us yet and you just need to know a few answers. That's the FAQ button there. And then the last one over is the Career Center. So this takes you to the section of the circle where you can access the Sigma Job Board and the Sigma Career Center, and where you can sign up for our coaching and mentoring programs. So that's a wonderful member benefit that is located and run here through the circle. And remember, as you're exploring, anytime you want to come back to the main circle homepage, you can click home, which is this first button over here, or just the circle logo, and that will bring you right back to the homepage. So beneath the navigation bar, there's some content on the actual homepage of the site. First is several rotating banners, and we use this space here to remind members of actions they can complete in the circle and to share about our chapter website of the month. Below the banners, you'll see the rest of the homepage, which is broken up into 3 separate columns here. So the leftmost column will show you any recent discussions that you're a part of. So if you have joined a community of interest, you'll see those discussions here and any others that you may have subscribed to see. There's also an announcement section. So this is where you'll see any important announcements from Sigma headquarters. Perhaps there will be a period of maintenance on the circle and it will be down. We'll put that information here. Right now, we are promoting our communities of interest, which are probably the most engaging places on the circle. And we'll talk about them a little more too. And then also over here on the right-hand side is just a listing of our upcoming events. So again, you can access all of the events from the navigation bar, but you can see a feed of what's upcoming over here on the right-hand side. So we said we're going to talk about what all of these different navigation items take you to. So the first thing we're going to talk about is groups. And groups are, depending on your role, you may already be added to some, like I mentioned. For instance, members are automatically added to their chapter group, which will appear when you click on My Groups. So anytime you need to access the groups you're a part of, again, you'll click on Groups and then My Groups, and that will bring you to any that you're a part of. And wait for that to load here. So like I mentioned, you're automatically added to your chapter website group. So you'll find that by coming to this My Groups page. Also, if you're a chapter leader, you'll find access to some of the groups you've been automatically added to, like the All Chapter Officers Work Group and your Regional Officer Connect group as well. So this My Groups page is where you come to really find out find the things that you have already joined and you want to go ahead and participate in those kinds of conversations. And then there are also lots of groups that are available for you to join, and I'll point out just a few of the types. So one are the communities of interest. So to find the communities of interest, I'm going to click on Groups and then All Groups. Wait for that to load up here. And then you can use these filters to find specific kinds of groups. So if you click on all group types, I want to find the communities of interest. So I can select that filter option, and that's going to pull up the various communities of interest that are available for members to join. These are groups that are a great outlet for you to have conversations with other nurses that relate to your nursing specialty or any specialty area that interests you. They're a great resource for you to join and begin conversing with other Sigma member nurses all over the world. So I'd highly encourage you to come in and check out these groups that interest you. And like I mentioned, they're all topic-based. And there are more than 17 to join, and we'll be adding more soon. And these are actually member-driven. So if a member comes on the circle and they say, "Hey, I don't see my topic represented," there's an application that you can submit to form a new one. So again, these are all completely member-driven and even facilitated by volunteer members. So let's look into one of these communities of interest. There have been some great conversations taking place already today in the nurse educators community of interest. And so again, we see in this community of interest some of the same things that we saw on the homepage. There is an announcement section here. There's an upcoming events section here. There's a library here. So any library files that have been added to this particular community, you'll see in the feed here. And I should mention that all of these are community specific. So these will be just announcements and events for this community. And then there's also a robust discussion forum. And so this is where people are having important conversations about, D&P projects, or how do you offer C&E at your university, or through, how do you make a webcast CE eligible, things like that. So those are some of the great conversations that I've already seen taking place this morning in the communities of interest. So again, to easily access these communities for you to be able to join, you can just click on, oh boy, my mouse is going crazy. You can just click on groups and then all groups and use this filter once it loads up to only show communities of interest. So that's how you can find those. All right, there are two other popular groups to join for members, and those are the Global Member Forum and the Career Advice Forum. So again, you can use these filters to find any of these groups that you may want to join. I clicked on Sigma Members Only, and here's the Career Advice Forum and the Global Member Forum, and I can click to join either of those two groups. The Global Member Forum, that's basically an open topic community. So it's where you can share things like links to your surveys you might be conducting, your research studies. It's also a place where you can find sometimes chapters post CE there, announcements from headquarters go there. So basically just an open topic community. And then the Career Advice Forum, this is an excellent space for members who are new grads or are looking to make a change in their career path. But you can come and ask questions and seek the advice of fellow Sigma members and career advisors. So this forum, like I mentioned, the communities of interest have volunteer member facilitators. The Career Advice Forum also has volunteer facilitators or career advice volunteers who help contribute to the conversations here. So those are some of the groups you can join. All right, heading back to the home page, I want to talk to you next about your profile. This is another important component of being an active and engaged member on the circle. So first we'll look at how you can find someone and take a look at another user's profile. So like I mentioned, in the navigation bar, we do have this member directory. And you have this basic search here, so you could search for someone that way. Or you could use the advanced search to find, maybe you use the basic search to find someone you met at an event and you want to connect with them in another way. You know their first and last name. You can use the basic search. Otherwise, you can use the advanced search, and it pulls up some other different interests and certifications that you can search on. So maybe I want to find people who are interested in pediatrics because I want to connect with those folks. So I can search for pediatrics, and then maybe I just want to find them in the United States and in a state close to mine. So, well, that is my state, but a state that is mine. Or you could do states close to you or whatever it may be. And then that's going to pull up a list of anyone who is like-minded like that I could then add as a contact. So that's a neat feature of the circle, is that you can actually add people as contacts, and it builds up a directory within your profile that you can then pull on later. So let's talk about your own profile. One thing I want to make sure you can do as soon as you can is head to your own profile and make sure you have a picture and some information about yourself added. It greatly contributes to online engagement and will be more inviting for other members who want to connect with you. So it just adds another level of visibility and trust to your online persona. So to get to your profile, like I mentioned, it's always in the top right-hand corner of the circle. So I can click this little drop down and then click profile, and it brings me straight to my own profile. So Over here is where you add a profile picture. You just click Actions, and it will allow you to change or upload for the first time. And then you can edit your bio, add your education and your job history, just using these little on-screen buttons here. So I highly encourage you to do that. It will help you connect with others. It will help others find you, find like-minded members who you can connect with, as well as add another level of visibility for your virtual persona, your online persona that you're communicating with others with. So get some stuff on your profile as soon as you have some time. There are ribbons over here on the left-hand side. So ribbons are things you can earn based on actions that you take on the circle. And then there are contact details here. So if you ever want to update your contact details or your name or title, you can just click this little pencil button next to contact details. That's going to take you to the My Membership site. That's another Sigma area where you manage that kind of demographic information. So just know that if you do want to update that kind of information, you can click this little pencil icon, and all of that is done through My Membership. The other things you can do on your profile are located in these actually four tabs up here at the top. So under My Connections, there are contacts. This is what I mentioned. Anyone that you have added as a contact on the circle, you can then access from your profile. So these are all the people who I've added as contacts. And it also suggests new contacts based on the things you've done on the circle, based on who you're already connected with, and those kinds of things. There's also a Networks button under My Connections, so I think this is pretty neat because it pulls in, based on things you put on your profile, the city I live in, my job history, my schooling. I went to Ball State, so I can find different people based on these networks that I've indicated on my profile. I can come in here, find like-minded members, and add them as contacts. And then the other thing I wanted to show you under My Connections is communities. So this is just another place where you can access the communities that you've joined or been added to automatically. Under the My Contributions tab, so it will display a summary for you of anything you've done in the circle. So it's kind of neat to see, okay, I've made 115 discussion posts, 138 library entries, and that accounts for most of my activities on the circle. Also under List of Contributions, this is where you can find anything that you've ever posted, as well as see any drafts that you've created. So if I had any drafts that were not posted yet but were saved, they'd be listed here above my content. So this is where you can come to access anything you've posted and your drafts. Finally, under My Account, this is where you can edit some of your preferences. So under privacy settings, this is a big one. This is where you should come and say, okay, yes, my picture can be public, but my company information should be members only, but my city, state, and zip should be only me. So this is where you can change some of this information about what's displayed about you. It's also where you come to change your group notifications. So when I click on My Account and Group Notifications, this is how I am emailed through the circle. So these are all of the groups that I'm a part of, and each group has a discussion forum. That's how you participate in the conversations. We saw one of those in the nurse educator community that I showed you earlier. It had that discussion forum for you to converse through. And so those discussion forums actually send emails. And so this is where you can decide how you want to get those emails. When you join a group, you're automatically set to receive the Daily Digest subscription of that discussion forum. And what that Daily Digest is going to do is pull in all of the conversations from the day before, and it sends overnight. So when you get your Daily Digest today, you're going to be reading all of the conversations that took place from the day before. So that's basically a daily email for those groups that are really active and have daily conversation. The other option you can choose is to pull it into a consolidated Daily Digest. So as you can see, I'm a member of many, many groups, which means I'm getting a Daily Digest for All Chapter Officers Work Group. I'm getting another Daily Digest for Ambulatory Care, a third one for Cardiovascular. So while it's just one email per community, if you're in a lot of communities, it can still be a large amount of emails. So what you can do is pull that into your consolidated Daily Digest just by clicking these check boxes here. So rather than sending you a daily digest for each of your communities, it will send you one email, one consolidated digest with all of the conversations from all of your communities from the day before. So I really like that option, especially since I'm in lots of communities, because I know that I'm only going to get one email per day and it's going to have every conversation that I've subscribed to. So nothing irrelevant, all things that I want to receive, but it's just the one email. So I do encourage you again to come in here to my account, group notifications, and then pull in anything into this consolidated daily digest that you don't want to get a separate email for. The important thing to remember is then to change your discussion email. So you can see that I've added these 3 to my consolidated, but it did nothing over here to change my subscription. So what this means for ambulatory care is that I will get my consolidated. I will also get my email in real time because that's what I have set. So if you add things to your consolidated digest, it's important to come in here and then change these to no email. Otherwise, you'll get a separate email from ambulatory care and you'll get it pulled into your consolidated digest. But for me, I like to get a consolidated digest, and I also just like to get all my conversations in real time. So I get lots of emails every day from the circle, and I'm a-okay with it. So as a member, you're part of this family of nurses, and your profile is, and the circle in general, is a great way to connect with others that you can learn from and share your knowledge with, or have similar paths that you can get support from and grow your network as you advance in your career. So those are just some of the things you can do on your profile and on the circle homepage that connect you with others. There's other ways you can jump in and get involved with Sigma and begin exploring the things to do on the circle, one of which is the volunteer portal. So like I mentioned, we have this volunteer button in the navigation bar. And when I click on it, there's an about page. That's a little bit of just landing page information, a bit of FAQ. There's also an option to complete your volunteer profile. So when I click on my volunteer profile, I can see that it takes me to something that looks very similar to my profile. So actually it is. All of your profiles are housed here within your main. So the one button we didn't look at here was this My Profile button. So here, when I click in there, I have access to my profile, which is where we just were. Now I can also access my volunteer profile here. And I encourage you to come in here and add your interest, add your willingness to travel, your experience level, because as Sigma adds volunteer opportunities for members to participate in, we send out invitations based on what people have input on their volunteer profiles. So if you come in here and you indicate that you're interested in community engagement, we will send you an invitation to be a facilitator for one of our communities of interest. Likewise, if you say, yes, I would love to be an event volunteer, then we'll send you information when we have volunteer opportunities for Congress or convention or whatever it may be. So there's lots of different ways that International is using to connect with members through volunteer. And you can use this little filter. So it doesn't show it automatically, but when you click Show Filter, you can use that to say, okay, these are the kinds of opportunities I want to see. So I want to see just community engagement, none of the others. That's going to be all of our community of interest facilitator positions that you can apply for. Likewise, there are chapter opportunities on the circle. So if you want to look for opportunities that your chapter has created, you can select Chapter Volunteer and see anything that your chapter has created as well. Many of the opportunities that International creates are quick, easy opportunities that you can complete within minutes, such as liking our Facebook page or following us on Twitter, things like that. So it's a great way to get involved and do some things that you don't really have to put in a lot of effort or time, but it helps connect you with the organization in a way. Okay. And important to remember, if you want to get those invitations, then you do need to opt in to receive volunteer notifications, which again, you do under that volunteer button, opt in to receive volunteer notifications. All right, so that is the volunteer portal. The last thing I want to go over today is the Career Center. So that's what we have here in this last tab. And the first one I'm going to look at is Get Career Help. And when I click in here, we see that we're on the Career Center within the circle. So this is where you can come to connect with other Sigma members and get help and ask questions that pertain to your career path or job search. So the first option that we see is career advising. And this is more for one-time questions and requests that you can pose in the career advice forum on the circle. So volunteer career advisors are there, like I mentioned, to help provide you with answers. And don't forget, you can also volunteer to be a career advisor through that volunteer tab. So that's just a little aside for that if you're interested. So while the career advising that we see here is more for those one-off questions and advice, we do have a longer-term option with our career mentoring and coaching program. This program actually pairs you with another Sigma member for a longer-term one-on-one type of relationship while you focus on a specific project or something along those lines. So those are the 2 points of difference there. And to get started with that, you just take the little online quiz. You'll be prompted to create a mentor profile, and then you are in the program. The other option under the Career Center is Get a Job. And this brings you to the Sigma job board. So again, this is the members only job board where companies list jobs with us and people, so if you have questions about a job or you're looking for a new one or you're a new grad, this is a great place to start. Don't forget that this is a great resource for you. So let Sigma help out with your next job search. It's a member benefit to you that we're happy to provide. Okay, and that is it. So like I mentioned, that's basically the things you can do on the circle. There are a few different features that are new that I want to point out. So one is @mentions. So if I want to connect with someone in a discussion, so I'm clicking into this discussion in the nurse educator community. I see there's been several replies and I want to chime in as well. I can click reply in line, and let's say I want to tag Doe here because I want to respond directly to her reply. I can @mention her name, and it's going to send her a notification when I replied to her. So that's one thing you can do to connect and engage with other members through the circle. The other new feature is discussion notifications. So this is a little bit different than how it used to be, but now the circle will send notifications based on the communication that you have done on the circle. So if you start a discussion thread, you'll immediately get an email when someone replies. If you reply to a thread, that means you've subscribed to it, so you'll start to get emails when anyone else replies. And then if you don't post anything, but you're interested in a discussion, you can click to follow it so you get emails consistently when things are posted. Even though you're not contributing, you want to read the conversation, you can click the little follow star that's over here and it will connect you with the conversation so you keep getting emails. The last neat thing that's very new is the autosave feature that I mentioned. So I described how you can get to your drafts on the circle. So as you're typing, the circle will save drafts for you and you can access them from your profile. So that's a neat new feature that is really handy if you want to participate in a conversation but maybe don't have the time to finish your thoughts all at one sitting. So that is the circle. We still have a few, well, 1 minute, but I don't have anything after this, so I can stay on. We do have time for questions. So if you have questions about the circle or any other benefits or anything I can help you with, like I mentioned, feel free to pop those into the questions field on your GoToWebinar control panel, and I will get them answered for you. Okay, and we did have one question. It says, I've been an active member of Sigma and the vice president of my chapter. I recently moved to Tampa and would like to remain active. Will I be able to find members by location via the circle? And the answer is yes, definitely. So as an aside to that, if you move and you want to join a local chapter, you can hold dual membership. So this doesn't really answer your question, but if you wanted to seek out a chapter in the Tampa area and hold dual membership, you could do that as well. That would help you connect with people in your area. But to answer your question, yes, you can find members by location using the member directory. But what you'll want to do is use the advanced option. So when you click member directory, the first options you get are just first name, last name, university, and email. You can click advanced search, and if you scroll down, find people by location. So I hope that answers your question. If there are any others, feel free to type them in. Otherwise, if you don't have any other questions, you're free to go. This is the end of the session, but again, thank you so much for coming. Please use the circle as a resource that's an excellent benefit to you. If you feel like you have more questions or need more instruction about how to make the circle very useful for you and a great tool and resource, please feel free to reach out to me privately, and I'm more than happy to talk. Thanks.